Good morning and welcome to Unity Way Church. My name is Reverend Michael Schoonhover and I'm the minister here at Unity Way Church in beautiful sunny Vista, California. I invite you to our YouTube channel and our YouTube service this morning. And I know that whenever you do watch this lesson, it will be a blessing unto you in your life, in your experiences. And I already know and affirm that you are a tremendous blessing to us. This is the first week in November, so it's Happy November, and that means we have a new affirmation, healing affirmation from Wings of Prayer, and this is from Daily Word, November the 20th, 1930. By the healing presence and life of Christ within me, I am delivered from all belief in disease. I am whole and well. Just invite you to allow that divine idea of wholeness really to percolate through your soul consciousness. Regardless of appearances, our body is created to always heal itself. That is really innately within all the cells, all the parts of our body, all the organs of our body. It is already programmed within us. But what happens if something does happen and, quote, a disease comes upon us, that energy works kind of against us. And so in Unity, we really want to affirm, despite appearances, that our nature is wholeness. Our nature is oneness. We don't have to fight it to make it so. We really want to affirm and allow it to be so. Unity Way Church is a metaphysical church, which means we study consciousness. Consciousness, because if we are not conscious of what we are doing in all of our activities and behaviors, that means we're living kind of on autopilot. And when we live in this third dimensional world of effects, which we believe that are causative, we live in a loop. So we're really not awake. This Sunday, and as we go through this month, I invite you to, when you become still or whenever you're doing any activities, to take a pause for a second, take a deep cleansing breath, and anchor yourself into the truth that you know who you are. Your nature is health. Divine health is your innate nature. And we know that to be so. And I invite you to join with me with our mantra that we use here at our church, which is thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. And now here is Mickey with our daily word.
Good morning. The word for today is seasons. The affirmation is, throughout the seasons of life, my Christ light shines brightly. When winter follows the autumn harvest and the sun's light grows weaker, what may resemble barren land is actually a time of rest, a preparation for a new cycle of seasons. The sun's light and warmth change in ways that perfectly suit each season. My life, like the planet Earth, moves through seasons. The awakening of wonder in childhood, exciting and sometimes stormy growth during adolescence and early adulthood. The achievements of my middle years and the fulfillment that maturity can bring. The Christ presence, the divine light within me, is my unfailing source of strength, understanding, and comfort in every season of life. And from Genesis 1:14, and God said, let there be lights in the dome of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for the seasons, and for days and years. And again, the affirmation is, throughout the seasons of life, my Christ light shines brightly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. What a divine idea, seasons. It's a very metaphysical idea, really, because we do go through seasons and changes within our life. We're never stagnant. We're always growing and expanding. So that means there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. So metaphysically, we want to realize where we are in our life journey and enjoy wherever we are and relish it, because there will be a time when it will pass, and then a new beginning will begin, symbolic in that verse of a new day in the different seasons. I have a question for you. Where do you turn to when you need spiritual support? Where do you go when you feel that something is heavy which is on your consciousness? Where do you go? Where do you turn? I invite you this Sunday to turn to Silent Unity. Silent Unity, which is back at Unity Village in the Silent Unity Chapel. It's a divine idea that was birthed by our co-founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. with the divine idea that someone would be praying 24/7. So regardless if you sent a letter or you send an email request for prayer, or you just become still right here and right now, and you just connect up with that vibration of silent unity. That's the prayer worker, that's the prayer thought, that's really the prayer center of our unity movement. I'd like to bless that chapel, I'd like to bless that prayer worker, I'd like to bless those prayer claims, and our prayer claims are there also. And by the power of omnipresence, I'd like to bring some of that healing energy from that silent Unity Chapel, which is back at Unity Village in Missouri, bring it forth into this sanctuary. And as it floods this room and goes out and over our property to wherever you may be, I invite you to take a deep anchoring breath and know that no matter what is going on in your life, or going on within your life, or around your life, or whatever is happening, just take a deep breath and know that there is a divine order. There is faith, because you have faith in the one power and the one presence, the one life and the one life substance. And we know that to be so. And I invite you to use a mantra we use here at our church, which is thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. Well, I pulled a very interesting comic. I think you'll enjoy it. And you can see it's a kitchen scene, and the husband is bringing in dinner to his wife, and you can see her, she's sitting at the table awaiting the feast that he created. And the caption says, as he's bringing the two plates in, "Since I cooked, you do cleanup, okay? Since I cooked, you do cleanup." And if you look at that, you can see he made a heck of a mess. That kitchen looked like a neutron bomb went off. You know that is so funny. Come on, come on. We all know what it's like to face a dirty kitchen. From my minister's joke page, I'd like to share this with you. A minister who was very fond of pure, hot horseradish always kept a bottle on his dining room table. He offered some to one of his guests who was over for dinner, and the guest took a spoonful of it. When the guest finally was able to speak again, he gasped and said, I've heard many ministers over the years preach about hellfire and damnation, but you're the first preacher I've ever met that really passed it out in samples. You know that is funny. Come on. A little bit of horseradish, kind of clean up your sinuses. That is good. We need to laugh more. We need some more horseradish maybe in our life. This morning, my talk title is Living as a Tugboat and Florist. And those are the divine ideas I want to share with you, being a tugboat and what a florist is. And how metaphysically those ideas can be incorporated into a practice of looking at our life, how we're feeling, how we're showing up, how we can move forward as we grow forward into the dreams and aspirations that we have. First of all, I'd like to define what a tugboat is. A tugboat really represents metaphysically actions and behaviors. And really the idea of a tugboat is it's small, it's a powerful boat, is used for towing and pushing ships, barges into their desired docks. It's very important metaphysically because the ideas and feelings that we hold on to can act as a tugboat, pushing us to activity, pulling us away from situations that we don't want to be in. I'd like to define what a spiritual florist is. A spiritual florist consciousness. It is a person, it's a human flower. Many of the mystics have defined our soul as flowers. And the flower is symbolic when its petals open to awakening, a reawakening of self-consciousness. And that's really what that divine idea can mean to us. Again, many of your early mystics, and still today, they like the symbology of a flower. Could be a lotus, could be a rose, whatever flower it is, because it gives off a fragrance. Remember St. Paul talks about in one of his epistles how there's an aroma of the Christ, a sweet fragrance that goes out from our soul, symbolically what we can think about. I'd like to define what a florist is. A florist is an occupation. They are designers who arrange live, dried, or silk flowers, or also green displays. And I think metaphysically that really says something to us, because sometimes we have ideas and feelings and relationships. How are we putting them together? Are they all scrunched in the corner, or are they put in a place where each of the attributes of our life shines forth? It's put on display, not to impress people out here, but to be a reflection of who we are inside. That means we want to be a florist, a divine florist. We also want to be a divine tugboat. And we use these attributes truly to be who we have come to be. Florists also help customers select flowers in containers, ribbons, and other accessories. And I like that idea because as true students, we have to have flowers. Well, do you want them in a box? Do you want them in a vase? Symbolically, the containers or the ribbons or accessories could be the tools that you use, could represent affirmations, could represent pictures that you look at to help you remember to be peaceful, could be books that you read to stimulate your spiritual self so you go deeper into a full understanding. Again, floral arrangements metaphysically, it's the way we connect to spirit. It's the way that we connect to our nature, and it creates lasting peace within us. And what I like about the idea of fresh flowers especially, and sometimes you can use plastic, but they represent symbolically a feeling, a mood, a state of awareness. So when we're dealing with our own life situations or relationships, do we have a mood and a feeling that is matching, that we love what we're doing? Or not? Something to think about. Because metaphysically, that is how we're going to show up. And this will help form the energy which goes into the grid of our aura, which becomes our field of attraction. I also like when you think of the florist, there's a metaphor of life. Flowers are symbolic of beauty, and they go also from bud to bloom. Kind of like us. Kind of like our life. We come in as a child, and then we grow up, and then we go into adolescence, and then we become more mature. And then at the end, we kind of slow down a bit. It's the phases of life. And symbolically, the mystics would say we live the life of a flower. Of course, more than once, because as we go through these different stages, there's a beginning, a middle, and end. And there's also seasons as we go forward. Flowers and the idea of arranging the ideas and thoughts that we really love, the affirmation and denials that work for us, the imagery that we really find peaceful or help us to be motivated to move forward. Some of the symbols are flowers represent love, faith, and hope. We all need love, faith, and hope. Symbolically, it is based on the ideas and the images and the feelings that we want to hold on to. Something to think about, because every thought, every feeling is attached to a tugboat and a flower, or a flower arrangement. And sometimes when the flower is past its prime, we get rid of it. We don't sit and enjoy dead flowers that are past their prime. And I know sometimes people don't like fresh flowers because they do have that cycle. But like us, our divine ideas have a shelf life. And unless we keep them really fully energized, they're not going to really last forever. We need to harvest new flowers. We need to harvest new ways that we can take these ideas like these tugboats and push us and pull us into the direction of where our divinity is taking us. Flowers also are a way that we can offer ourself up to the world around us and our own self. Flowers offerings express also a higher dimension. In my research, especially spiritually, flowers and bouquets, anything that's alive like that offers a symbol of a new and higher self dimension within us. So really, in this talk I'm sharing with you this morning, we are all called to be our own tugboats within our own soul, and also to be our own florists within our own life. This is from Neil Donald Walsh. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So if you're feeling uncomfortable right now, know that the change taking place in your life is a beginning, not an ending. And I really think that totally goes with this idea of a tugboat and a florist. See, a tugboat is just sitting and not doing anything. It's not living to its potential. Just like having a lot of faith. A lot of faith in what? A lot of faith that's leading us where? We want to get to that dock, or we want to get away from that dock to go out into the sea so we can really be who we're going to be. The ship symbolically are the ideas that we have. We might need a little push. We might need a little push here and there. And that's really what a tugboat can mean to us. I'd like to speak about one of the things in my research when I was studying these ideas of how we're showing up in our life is what happens after our comfort zone. That comfort zone, do we stay there forever? Do we always lounge? There's nothing wrong with lounging, nothing wrong with taking a break. But I think what happens is there's a point where your comfort zone will end, and yet you have to be willing to take new risks. You need to embrace the unfamiliar. You need to be willing to have a different experience. What kind of ship would you be that you only go to one harbor? Sometimes you got to go to different harbors. Maybe you're going into a harbor that's treacherous as you're coming in. Or maybe it's shallow. It's not as deep as it should be. See, symbolic, again, that tugboat are the ideas and thoughts and feelings that propel us in the direction that we need to go. And I think that is reflective of the ideas of truth. See, when you affirm one presence and one power, we need to know what that one power is going to allow us to achieve in our own lives. And now some wisdom from Charles Roth. Your security is based on a new premise. God is a reality and you are a child of God with the kingdom of God as your divine inheritance. So do you really believe you have a divine inheritance of good? Or do you believe you have a divine inheritance or Adamic inheritance of trouble and misery, frustration, anxiety? Nothing goes right. There's two different kind of inheritances. There's the Adamic Adam inheritance, and there's also the divine inheritance. And I'd invite you also to use this idea of tugboat and truly being a florist, the flower creator of your own life and soul, because again, tugboats can be negative too. Again, they're ideas. We could be selfish. That's not what the kind of tugboats where we want to go, just like flowers. If we really want to show off our own divinity, it means we need to be self-assured. We need to be self-actualized. That doesn't mean to be arrogant. That doesn't mean to be self-serving. That doesn't mean to be selfish. That's not who we are. Kids never want the toys in their hands, but the one just out of their reach. And I like that divine idea because I think many times in our life, we don't deal with what's really at our disposal right here and right now. One of the things the older truth teachers would teach is, what do you have now that you can use? What do you have? Maybe it's some flour. Maybe it'll only a little bit of cash. Maybe only a little bit of this. Maybe you can only give so much at this time, or donate these clothes or these books or whatever you are thinking about doing. The Spirit says use what you have. And I think that's very important, because I think many times in life, even as adults, and I think it goes back to being our childhood years, or our also being teenagers, we want, but why do we really want it? We're always grasping. Grasping for what? Because somebody else got it? Because they got a dress? Or because they got those special kind of shoes? Or they were able to get that LP? I'm dating myself. But again, why do you really want it? I think it's something to think about. What is in the palm of our hands that we can use and we should be using now to appreciate what we have and delight in? Because whatever you praise and delight keeps growing and growing and expanding, whether it's negative or positive. So you want to only focus on the good, only focus on the supreme understanding. Again, one presence and one power. This is from the great Hebrew Scriptures, the great book of Psalms, chapter 50, verse 11. I know every bird in the mountains and the insects in the fields are mine. And what this verse is really telling us in the great Psalms is that the idea of the one presence and one power knows all. You see, it doesn't matter what part of the country you're in. It doesn't matter if you're up in space. It doesn't matter if you're in underground in a cavern or something. Omnipresence is always available, which means wherever we are, God is. And all truly is well. And everything answers to that high command. Why do insects go here? Why do ants crawl there? Why do birds fly in this direction? Because they know they're feeling that innate understanding to push them in the direction that they want. In many ways, those drives can be symbolic of really a tugboat. And the flowers could be representing the nourishment or food that they need, or to have a safe home, or create a new home, or maybe they have to migrate. Again, that goes into the different seasons of our life. I want to say that long-term parking in our comfort zone creates discontent and to be complacent. See, if we're stuck in a rut, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just a pause. You know when you need to get moving. You know when you need to get up, put on your shoes, and you need to go about your daily business. Something that's very important, because I think there's a part of us that, no, I don't want to do this because it's not that I don't want to do it. I don't want to go to the DMV and stand in line. I don't want to. It's so hard to find parking, and I'm not saying those things maybe don't happen. But again, our comfort zone as true students is living in the moment and calling on Spirit. We call upon the tugboat aspects of Spirit energy and also the flowering aspects of Spirit to give us not only the tugboat to help us get in the direction we want, but also do it with a conscious consciousness of appreciation. Thankful that we have a car. Thankful that we're not on dirt roads. Thankful for whatever it is. That's what we can use this divine idea as a tugboat in being a florist. I want to say too that sometimes different florists have different ideas, and the arrangements may challenges us. Are we willing to take on new challenges? Are we willing to work with maybe ideas or thoughts that aren't particularly our liking? We don't like yellows. We don't like pink. We don't like so much filler. We don't like baby breaths. Whatever it may be. Are you willing to work with some new elements in your life? And I'm not saying to go overboard, but as true students, to grow and expand, we need to be in the moment, which means we need to incorporate our highest understanding of the tools that we have spiritually. And I think as we grow, we want to allow our tools to grow and expand. See, if we stay stunted, we're missing out on more growth opportunities. We're here to grow. We're here to grow. And I know sometimes that isn't always easy. And sometimes it feels like we're being pushed or propelled. But we know if we're spiritually in alignment with the one presence and one power, the tugboat ideas that we're using are going to push us to the docks that we need to be at, or take us away from the dock so we can go out and live the truth that we know. And also that means we have to have the right attitudes. We have to have a smile on our face. We have to be about doing the business of spirit, which should give us joy despite what's happening out here. I'm not saying you ignore what's going on out here, but if you have a consciousness of the kingdom, you have a different attitude with you. This is from a Unity minister who also became a religious science minister, and he was one of the big ministers for many, many years in New York City, and this is Raymond Charles Barker. It all depends on you, not on the world of events, things, and people. Your mind is where you live. Your world, your body, and your situation react in exact accordance to your mind. Not someone else's mind, your mind. What I love about that truth that Raymond Charles Barker is sharing with us is the buck stops here. This morning we could say the tugboat stops here. The flower or the florist person who arranges these things and implements the truth that we have, it stops with us. We have to control the tugboats in our life. We have to control the flowers and how we're going to arrange them in our life. It's very important, because just because you know the truth and you can spit it out, but if you're not living it and allowing it to be showing it forth in all your experiences, it's not really going to do you much good. It's kind of like having dead flowers, or having a tugboat that has no fuel or has no ropes to put you or help that big vessel to go in the direction it wants. That's when we cut our divine ideas off the energy because we're negative. We really don't believe in it. Show me first. Show me. And that's really our Adamic self. And again, I'm not saying being reckless, but symbolically you can have an idea, but if it doesn't have the energy of spirit behind it, your tugboat is not going to go anywhere or not help you without any ropes. What is distracting us from the bigger blessings that we have in our own life? There are so many blessings within us that we can hold on to. Every soul has blessings. Tugboats and florists know their identity and their jobs. See, as true students, do you know your identity? Our identity is being the Christ within. We're divine. We are the divine image and the divine likeness of spirit. That doesn't mean that we're perfect. That doesn't mean we bilocate. That doesn't mean we lunch with the Dalai Lama or the Pope or some shaman someplace. Not saying you can't do that, but really our own shaman, our own Dalai Lama, our own Pope understanding figure or great sage is within our souls. And if we understand that, we can use the tugboat ideas and feelings and also be the florist, knowing how we prepare things, how we put these flowers together so they are truly living to where we are in this present moment. This is from the last living disciple that just recently passed from Yogananda. This is Roy Eugene Davis. Our present states of awareness, moods, modes of thinking, behaviors, relationships, and circumstances, whether infused by subconscious tendencies, willed by our conscious intentions, or agreed to by us as they begin to express, are of our own choosing. That's truth. And that kind of hits you in the solar plexus. Ooh, because so much of our life we want to blame somebody else. Well, they didn't have a really good influence on me, or they didn't love me the way I should have been loved, or I have abandonment issues, or I have my family didn't support me, or my friends or my church, my political group didn't support me. Here's the deal. I'm not saying maybe that's not true. But ultimately, the tugboat and the florist is within us. We need to rest on our own identities. We need to know who we are. And when we understand oneness, wholeness, and divinity, that's how we can go about our life and live the life that we choose, not for someone else, not our family. We choose our own path, and we support people where they are on their journey. That doesn't mean we maybe always agree where they're going. We don't like where their tugboats are pulling them to that port. But today can be different, and we allow them and bless them knowing that wherever they're going, Spirit is guiding them, and we know that to be so. And no matter how the flowers are arranged, we know they've chosen this for some reason, and we allow them to have their growth experiences. A truth tugboat and florist mentality bring contentment. It motivates us to achieve. So we're in November, and we're doing the changings of seasons. Are you willing to go through the seasons of your life? Are you willing to go through the seasons of truth? Are you willing to use what you have? You know, being a florist, I was thinking not a lot of flowers bloom like in the summer, but you can use other ways a florist can decorate with pumpkins or gourds. You can use corn or corn that's dried out. See, there's many ways that you can use the environment in which you're in. And I think metaphysically and symbolically, it says a lot about us. And I encourage us to do that. This is from David R. Hawkins. Consciousness is an impersonal quality of divinity, expressed as awareness, and is non-dualistic and non-linear. It is like infinite space that is capable of awareness and is a quality of divine essence. And what he's really sharing with us is another definition of spirit, omnipresence. We call it the quantum field. The ancients called it the ether field. You can call it whatever you want. Because here's the deal. Whether you acknowledge that the quantum field or the etheric field is around us, doesn't mean it's not going to be there. See, that's the real truth of metaphysics. We might not want to acknowledge it, but that does not mean it's not there. So I think it's something to take into prayer. The divinity within us allows us to be present wherever we are. See, we're always home. Just like when somebody transitions, they know all the mansions of our Father's house are here where we are. The porthole is within our own soul. They don't go someplace. They don't have to travel in some time machine. They're at a different frequency vibrationally, but all the mansions of our Father's house are with us. And I will say every mansion that we're in, it has its own tugboat ideas and thoughts, and also its own ideas of flowers and arrangements. Again, how are you arranging the circumstances in your life? If you're blue, do you make everyone around you feel blue and depressed? You're upset, so you want everyone else to be upset? You get to answer that question. I recommend that you allow people to be who they are, and you think about why is this making you upset and how you can use that as really a truth tool to move you forward. Using positive tugboat florist affirmations and denials start our days and helps us to sustain a life with alignment to thought patterns. I'd like to share a thought with you. I'd like to share a story, I should say. Ted walked past his local florist over the weekend and noticed the lady who ran the store working feverishly, getting everything organized for her day. As a middle-aged male, he said, "I never really understood florists. They seem to just sell overpriced plants and flowers that die in a few days." That's the story here. "And don't get me started because they have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go buy their fresh flowers at the local flower markets. Really, what's the point? But florists do so much more than just that. They bring color and fragrance into drab lives in a drab world in which we may be living. They light up the day of the person receiving their gifts. They can say sorry. They can say thinking of you. We need florists, the ideas and consciousness in our world. We all need to be a spiritual florist, bringing bright colors and flowers and light and aroma to all of our lives. Spiritual florists know their healing roles." Have you ever thought of a florist as a healing role? It really is. It really is. So somebody brings in flowers, that fragrance. It's the gift, it's the idea. And again, it maybe doesn't have a 37-day shelf life, but it teaches you to live in the moment. And I think that's one of the things about being a florist. You live in the moment. I think most of us don't really enjoy our moment understandings. We're too much living in the past or fearful about our futures. And we should really be called to live in the moment and enjoy the blessings that we have. This is from Thomas W. Shepard. He was the main teacher and dean at the Unity Institute back at Unity Village in their ministerial school. And he says, "New knowledge is no threat to God. It only threatens those who have closed their windows to the light of God's truth. An ongoing reinterpretation of truth will allow us to correct the blind spots and move closer to knowledge and his or her cosmos." And when he's talking about the presence of God, both male and female. See, the God understanding we have is not locked in a book. It's not locked in a creed or a dogma or something. Nothing against creeds or dogma, but we go deeper. We go to the source. That's the indwelling source within us. That's where the Holy Spirit dwells within us. And we should not be afraid. If you're really talking about truth, it's almost like they say in scriptures, true gold does not fear the fire. It might purify the gold, but it knows it is resilient and it will survive no matter what we go through. Again, what we see doing with the florist is something that maybe we could do. Could we be a gift to somebody? Just showing up? Could we be a gift and acknowledge that they have a potential with him? Could we invest in them, believing that they can be developed, supporting them? And I'm saying not making them do a certain thing, but if you know that they can sing or they can write or they can do this or that, are you willing to support them? Because Adamically, sometimes, well, I can't do that. Why should they be able to do it? That's an Adamic thinking, and we don't want to go there. We want to encourage and expand really this idea of it being a tugboat with strength and also with wisdom. So the tugboat within our life are the ideas and thoughts that are positive, moving us inch by inch, pulling us in the direction so we can head out to open sea. And also the wisdom of the floors. You know what pictures, you know the pictures of how the arrangements want to be, and then you take it and literally take it off the page and create those beautiful arrangements. And again, in the fall, you can use pumpkins or different things. You could say it's a scarecrow. It's made of hay or whatever you want to put the old jacket in it. There's many ways that we can be a florist, that dynamic idea, creating a space so wherever we are, it's enjoyable now. And tomorrow or later on in the week, we can change that. Tugboats. Tugboats are marvelous little crafts. They shove and bump and prod other vessels. They pull and guide them. They guide them through challenging waters. There is nothing glamorous about tugboats. They are very plain and unimpressive, but they are invaluable. They make huge contributions to the busy world ports. Think about it. Things would not be moving along if it wasn't for tugboats. We need more tugboats actions in our own lives. That means we need to have ideas and thoughts and images that really get us in the direction. I am motivated today to do this, and then you see it through. Again, people, situations, and teachings that really put us and help us be in the right direction or prod us, they keep us on track. They keep us out of trouble. Truth Tugboats is a mindset that can help us rediscover our innate golden possibilities. This Sunday, are you willing to realize that you have a golden possibility within you? Are you willing to realize that you have a golden tugboat, more than maybe one tugboat, a fleet of tugboats, divine ideas and thoughts and states of awareness that you can use to maneuver you out into the life that you want? This is from Course in Miracles, and it is. The part of your mind in which truth abides is in constant communication with God. Whether you're aware of it or not, it is the other part of your mind that functions in the world and obeys the world's laws. It is this part that is constantly distracted, disorganized, and highly uncertain. And what the Course in Miracles is talking about our Adamic ego. See, we listen to our ego because it yells and screams, it moans, whines. Of course, I won't say that happened. I'll reflect that on me. There's a part of me where maybe I don't want to be very helpful. I had a glitch and I had to fall and I had to pick myself back up, and I'm going to allow them to make the same mistake. Is that really using the truth that we know? And again, I don't believe we need to destroy the ego. I think it needs to be directed, just like a boat or a tugboat. Where do you need to go? I mean, if you just have somebody pulling and pushing you, not in the direction you want to go, where there's no rhyme or reason, that's going to put you in a situation that you don't want to be in. Again, we use the truth that applies to us. Again, lessons in truth. We learn the truth and we use it. So it's not theory, but it's really our truth. You see, in the Adamic understanding of life in this third dimensional world, it's very easy to criticize and write off people, their lost causes. See, the question is, should we be doing that? And I don't care what their political party is. I don't care what their nature is. I don't care if they have a good nature, a bad nature. I don't care if they have black hair or no hair. I don't care where they are and from the world. Let's take a deep breath. We're not here to write anybody off. Now, maybe they're going in a direction. Maybe that's not for our journey. But that doesn't mean we condemn them. We affirm that God, the Spirit within them, is giving them the tugboat ideas and feelings, and also the ability to arrange the circumstances and appearances to be the flourish of their own life. You're not here to decorate somebody else's table. You're not here to pull or steal somebody else's tugboats. That's not what we do as truth. We have our own. And if we have a prayer practice, we realize that's where we turn within. That's how we change ourself at depth. And this is from Martha Smock, past editor of Daily Word. Begin now, today, to follow through on the understanding you have, to live the truth you know. Now is the time. Now is the time to prove God's power in your life. Now is the time to be fearless and free. I'm going to say, if you're going to have a tugboat idea or mentality, or even a florist mentality, you need to be fearless and free. That means somebody else is not telling you how to arrange stuff. I'm not saying there's certain things about color scheme or how things should be put in certain arrangements. I'm not talking about that. But we need to be fearless. And you get that by having a prayer practice. Not going into prayer and mumbling about all the difficulties we had, and no one knows the sufferings I've been through. No one knows when I ran out of gas and I was on the side of the road. Is that what we want to talk about? See, we go into prayer to change ourselves. We go into prayer to settle down the Adamic understandings of this third dimensional world, and we go into prayer to remember who we are. And we come out of that prayer with tugboat ideas and thoughts, and also with ideas how we can arrange our relationships and circumstances so we can have a perspective that is positive in truth. Seeing a tugboat or a florist really is in everyone. Have you ever thought of seeing a tugboat ideal or a florist ideal in anyone you meet? There are highly valued potentials within us, and it allows them soul growth, their own soul self-growth. Again, in unity, it's all about our own self-transformation. We support everyone, but we don't change. We're not out to change other people. We're not out to change or iron out their wrinkles. That's their journey. We can love them and support them. We could say, well, it's not kind of what I would do. You can be honest, but you don't have to say it, well, you can do what you want. See, attitude can really say a lot. So sometimes the words we use are not really true. They're forgery. We say this word, I wish you a lot of hope. Or you can say, I wish you a lot of hope. You see, the attitude makes all the difference in our life. And this is from the Hebrew Scriptures. This is the great prophet Zechariah, chapter 5, verse 2. And he said to me, quote, what do you see? Unquote. I answered, quote, I see a flying scroll. Its length is 20 cubits and its width 10 cubits. And what this prophet is really seeing, and what the Spirit within him is showing him, that we are as vast as the world around us. And that scroll represents really the innate intelligence that exists in the etheric world. It's all around us. You see, we just have to be a match to it. It's like having a radio. If you have a radio with no dial, you're not going to tune into any stations. You need to dial, and the dial is that consciousness. We need to know where we are. Otherwise, we're going to be listening to a lot of static. And again, the wisdom really isn't out there. Spirit will lead us to where the wisdom is that we need, but it's really within us. We always start within. ask for direction, and then we use the tugboat ideas to direct us where we need to go on the internet. Maybe we need to go visit a mentor. Maybe we need to go learn this. Maybe we need to do some more studying. We're given the nudge, and if we listen to those hunches, we're always put in the direction that we want. I believe this Sunday, I think we should celebrate the tugboats and the florist victories in our life. Praise and model, because tugboats and florists to me represent self-reliance, self-excellency, and really another way is saying self-divinity. See, we're not going to make it through this life experience without knowing the tugboats that we have. Maybe 1 or 2 is not enough. Maybe we need 4 tugboats to put us or pull us in the direction so we can go out to sea and be on the current of where we want to be. And this is from Walter Shackle. The great lie is when man, in his ignorance, misinterpreted the perfection and then claimed Jesus was perfect, all those who tried to follow Jesus were doomed to failure. Man said, quote, "He is perfect, flawless Jesus. Be like him or feel guilty," unquote. That Jesus never existed, could never have existed. Let's think about that. Because again, in Unity, we stress Jesus is the standard of our life. He's not the exception. He's the standard. And that's where we need to really dial ourselves back into this divine idea and allow that standard, our higher consciousness, to direct us in our path. Sometimes pictures don't really need captions. In my research, I was reading how you have pictures and they have captions. Sometimes the pictures are self-explanatory. I want to think about that, because if they're self-explanatory, they're quite obvious. So if we're frustrated in some way, there's something within our relationships or something within us that's keeping that vibration, keeping that frustration or turmoil or anxiety within our life. We turn within, not to beat ourselves up, but to take a deep breath and say, well, why am I feeling like this? Why am I whining about this? Because the energy we use for whining and complaining is actually the energy that can propel us when we use tugboats and be in a florist consciousness to see the beauty, but also know that this tugboat is going to push us out in the direction we need to grow. You know, ships are made to go out to sea. Ships are not made to be tied to the dock. Just like flowers. Flowers can be in a field, but the flower's real beauty is when we can capture that beauty in a special way, like our soul, and share that and model it for people that maybe don't think like us. Does that really matter? Is what we think of ourselves. This is from Wayne Dyer. Make an effort to remove all labels you've placed on yourself. Labels serve to negate you. You must ultimately live up to the label rather than being the limitless spirit that is your essence. See, we're already spirit. See, we've forgotten it. We're in amnesia. We suffer from amnesia. And as we waken our soul to the tugboats and the florist ideals within us, what we can do is kind of like deja vu. Deja vu. You start remembering, yeah, things could be different. I can have a different experience, and we can do that. I would encourage you this Sunday to live a self-extraordinary life, which means that you need to find the tugboats in your life, and you need to be the florist arranging the situations in your life. Could be arranging when you go to bed. Could be arranging when you get up in the morning, how your prayer practice is going to be. Maybe you need to dip into a different book. Maybe you need to spend more time watching some of Michael's YouTube lessons. Lots of different ways that you can find wisdom. And in closing, I'd like to share this idea with you. A gate in a porthole, once widened, stays wide. This morning, as we go through this week, this Sunday and this following week, the door is open to us. And once it's open, it does not shut, especially metaphysically. Oh, we can go back to our old thinking, but there's a part of us that knows the truth. Once we've learned there's only one presence and one power, we show up differently. So this week, as we go forward, I invite you to rediscover the tugboat ideas, thoughts, emotions, anything that's driving you in the direction that you want, and use them in the same way. So you have one tugboat pulling this way and the other tugboat is pushing that way. If it's not going in the right direction, we're going to be in anxiety. We're going to be in fear. That's not where we want to be. And we want to believe that when it's opened and we see a better vision of ourselves, we truly are like a beautiful arrangement of flowers. We're put in a special way for only our unique understanding of this life. There's no duplicates of us. Let's live this life truly as the divine beings that we are. Because this Sunday, when you have rediscovered the tugboats and the florist's gifts within you, your life will shift and will truly be transformed. And we just say, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. This is the time in our service we have the opportunity to share our love offerings, our gifts, and our tithes. And I invite you to take whatever your gift may be and imbue it. Imbue it with the beauty of a beautiful flower arrangement. Whatever that arrangement is, but you get to choose the flowers. You get to choose the aroma. You get to choose the container or the ribbon. You get to choose that. And I also invite you to pick the tugboat, because as we release this gift into the universe by the law of circulation, we know we are going to be blessed because it's spiritual law. If you'll join me with our prayer. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive. And we just say, thank you, God. You can go to unityway.com and get our physical address, or you can go to unityway.com and do an electronic donation. And we just say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we know it to be the truth. And now our prayer for protection. May we know that when we have reawakened out of our amnesia, and we really realize that we can go out into the open sea of experiences, and we can choose the vessel, we can choose the tugboats, we can choose the arrangements of all the elements of our life and relationships, our life truly does change. And we truly can say this prayer and mean it for ourselves and for all this world. If you'll join me, please. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And I'm going to share with you, you are truly a divine tugboat and a divine florist of your own life. That florist, that ability. Find the tugboats, find the flowers, and be really the person who arranges things in your life, and have a spectacular week. Achieving your dreams, looking at beautiful arrangements of situations in your life, and really breathe in Spirit, which is the aroma of those gifts. I'll see you next Sunday, and we just say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.